Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Dark Souls Remastered. So, this is a bit awkward, and only because not only is this the second time that's happened, but this next episode will be the third. Is I forgot once again to make sure that my microphone was fully in my jack. So, this episode right here, again, game sounds, no commentary, which is, 45 minutes of speaking that I'll never get back. But rather than just going for the clip show this time, I'm just going to try a bit of post commentary and see how that works out. Going into it, I think what's probably going to happen is I'm gonna cover all the bases, but there's probably going to end up being some long silences in there somewhere where I can't think of things to talk about. But yeah, let's see if we can make 45 minutes of commentary in post, which this is the first time I've ever done post commentary, so we'll see how it turns out. This particular episode, what are we doing? Yeah, last time we'd cleared the bonfire, but we just ran straight down the stairs to get to the bonfire. So I think I'm just checking everywhere that we haven't looked at properly, because I know we've got the rotating staircase thing to do, and if I remember rightly, I spend probably too long going, how have I missed this bit, when it's literally 2 rooms and 2 switches. But I always find it annoying that this is the thing. I remember actually saying in the commentary for this episode, because I'm sure at one point I do die, and I get because I get sandwiched on a hollow or something. Or that might be last time. I don't know. I think that was last time. Yeah. Anyway, I fully expect the enemies to be corporeal, and you can't just walk through them or roll through them. But at the same time, sometimes there's easily enough room to fit a human through. But because of the hitboxes in the game, they're like, no, you can't get through here. Something stood in the way. Even though it's there's a foot gap between him and this pillar. So yeah, I'm hoping. Me Mike's just made a weird poppy noise there, so I'm hoping that everything's just working alright. Because if it's not, then that would actually mean that it's not me being an idiot and not knowing how to plug a headphone jack in, but it's actually that my headset's on the way out. Which, yeah, bit of a problem halfway through a Let's Play. Unfortunately, in post commentary, it does mean you'll have to sit and listen to me drinking coffee at various points. But when you get up at 10 to 5 for work, then you need that. Yeah, and I remember being confused here. I'm but I killed these channelers, so why are they here? Only to then, oh yeah, and I got hit in the head with an arrow. And I never realised, but if you do get headshot by an arrow, it actually makes a different noise. There's a different audio cue for that. It's ptung, which is cool, unless it's you getting shot in the head. Yeah, so obviously, having already done this, I know, what's happened, but it's hard to try and convey the same sort of what I was thinking, because it's easier in post to just go, oh yeah, well it was this, whereas there's none of the thought process that goes along with it when it's live, and obviously it takes a fraction of the time. So I think I head up here and I don't realise, at least not at first, that the switch to turn it round is like on the actual staircase. Or maybe I do and I'm just like up here to look for if there's any chests. Like I've said before, I love the design of the Duke's Archives, but one thing that annoys me is that everything has a ranged option in here. Or look at, like, it doesn't matter where you stood, someone is flinging arrows at you, or soul arrows, or just, you know what I mean? Like, you cannot stand still without taking an arrow to the whatever. And of course, in this entryway bit, is this even the entryway? I can't remember. There's that chest that's on top of the bookcase that we still need to get. I'm not entirely certain on how to get that, but I figure it's got something to do with these rotating staircases. Go on, pop your head over the balcony so I can have a look. Yeah, and I was like, oh, there must have been a chest here that I've already picked up, even though I literally haven't been to this level of like the balcony in this room, so I couldn't have. But if memory serves, in this episode we finish looking about in here. We open the shortcut into the bookshelf. Not into the bookshelf, behind the bookshelf. That leads us to the room where Logan spawns. We get the key. We free Logan, I want to say. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we free Logan. And then I go into the crystal caves and I just start picking stuff up there, and I go on one of the invisible platforms that I don't normally go on and end up dying. Spoilers, but you know. You're watching it, so you're going to see anyway. What am I stood here for? This. You can hear me. The cogs whirring in my brain, like, oh, what do I do here? Have I been on this level? Of course you have. Well, so far we are 8 minutes-ish in. So what's that? 8/8 a foot. What 8/8 is? I want to say that's 56, isn't it? It's a bit much. I need to work this out now, otherwise I'm going to sound like an idiot on on camera if I'm wrong. 8/8 64. 8/8 a 64. 7/8 a 56. And 6/8 will be 48. So we're a sixth of the way through. And already I've had to resort to, you know, maths. I do this, like, the hard way, totally the hard way. Like, because I figured one fire orb would probably kill him, and it nearly does, in fairness. But then I end up, like, mucking about, swapping to me short bow, because for some reason, I think that I don't want to, like, use my short bow while I don't have my shield with us as well, even though, like, I literally can't do both at the same time. Yeah, so we've, this is where we needed to be. This is the whole point of the rotating staircases, the Harry Potter stuff, is we go through that room that we've just been in and we drop down here and we open this shortcut. But we do actually need to be, we do have to take that route to progress. Which I'm pretty sure we go and have a look in a minute. Yeah, so this room in here, this is where Logan moves to. once you free him out of the prison. And we've got a chest there that isn't a mimic. Blue Titanite chunk, that's alright. I mean, worthless for our build. Because you know, nothing magic's happening. But yeah, once you free Logan, he moves to that room and he sells you all the advanced like late game spells. And that one's a mimic though. Yeah, and what's that's the key to Logan's prison cell. Yeah, but what's interesting, which I didn't actually realise at first, but even though when you initially save him in Sen's Fortress, and you talk to him, if you've got less than 10 intelligence, the same as Griggs, he'll be like, "Oh, you don't have the aptitude for it." Like he won't offer to teach you sorcery. But when you free him in the Duke's archives, he does offer you those spells. Even, you know, as you'll see later on in this episode, even though we've only got like 9 intelligence, so you know. I suppose it makes sense from a completionist standpoint because Logan's questline does actually continue once you free him. So once you free him, he moves to that room, and you can buy all your rest of the sorceries off him. And basically, unfortunately, as you buy more of the sorceries off him, he gets increasingly like erratic, and like it's almost like the onset of dementia in the regard that like he starts being like just mumbling and he doesn't know where he's at, and like he can get snappy with you and stuff. Or you talk to him and he's like, "Oh, how long's it been?" like sort of thing. Like he makes out like it's been ages since you last spoke to him. The culmination of which being once you buy all of his spells, he'll then proceed to go hollow. And if I remember rightly, it's something about him, like he gets rid of all of his clothes. And the room where you first encounter Seath, the one where it's scripted that you die, he moves to that room and he's hostile. If you kill him there, then you get his catalyst, which is one of the best ones in the game. And you might get his hat, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, anyway, once you've bought all his spells, he hollows out. And I think it's something about, like, I think he wanted to be, like, naked and then something to do with scales, because he wanted to become immortal like Seath. I can't really remember. But what's interesting is I remember reading an interview where I'm not sure if it was like Miyazaki himself and I've just died there, or just one of the development like team from where they said originally they were going to, because when you fight him and he's hollowed, he doesn't have any clothes on apart from his hat. So he's just completely, you know, balls to the wind and big hat. And initially they were going to have him just completely like without, like, minus the hat as well. But they ended up concluding that people wouldn't know who it was, and they just mistake him for some random, you know, hollow. Because that's the thing with Big Hat Logan, as his name would suggest. The thing he's kind of like the most apparent feature about him is his big hat. So there you go. And actually, do you know what it is? I've just realised that I'm talking about this, and I haven't done it. Actually, yeah, because I remember saying after we freed him, I was like, that's something that I'll do, but it'll probably be like just before going, because all of these spells are very expensive. So if I'm going to clean them out, it's going to take me probably like, I don't know, 150, 200,000 souls, which is quite a premium to pay just for a little bit of, like, you know, quest continuance and story exposition, especially when it's not relevant to our build. Like, if I was a sorcery build and I really wanted Logan's Catalyst, of course it's worth it. But for us, it's just to say that we've done it. So it's going to take a backseat until more important things have been dealt with. I'm not sure why I've come back along here for. Oh, that's why, because I'm looking for the way back to the prison, because we've got the cell key now, and I couldn't remember on what level in which of the two rooms it was, which is why I ended up dying a minute ago, because I went into that other room thinking I'll just run back, and it turned out to be the wrong place, and I got sandwiched. But yeah, that's the more Farah strat. It's definitely risk reward. It's rewarding in that you save a load of time if you just do it and you make it through. But if you get caught and like everything follows you and you're stuck, then you know there's the risk, isn't there? In fact, I think this is me again being on the wrong side, looking for the doorway back to the prison. Whereas if memory serves, it's in this room that we're heading up to, but like up one floor. And I think this might even be me doing that now. No, I'm gonna go the wrong way again. See, this is what I mean for me there. There was just like 10-15 seconds of like, well, I know what's happening, and I've already explained what's happening. But like organically, it doesn't seem like it's bad. Yeah, I think it's here I get sandwiched. Is it here I get sandwiched? Yeah, look at that. Just like let me past. Yeah, there we go, sorry. Try again another time. Yeah, so it was this episode. But yeah, like it was so obvious that there was enough room to squeeze past that hollow. But no. Like even if I could like get past him but I took a hit, that would be fine, do you know what I mean? But you know, and then I get stuck on these chairs like 3 times in a row because I fully commit to the more Forest strats here, and I'm like, right, well, you know, this time I'll do it again. I'll just not get stuck. I also get hit by that hollow like several times in a row as well and get really salty about it. See, unfortunately, this is the thing with post. Anything that I can give in terms of like clarity of commentary, all the sort of like natural what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I say I've been followed again, so I just make a run for it because I'm like, oh no, there's too many. Run, and I'm pretty sure I get stuck again. Oh no, I get jumping attack. That's it. Yeah, the sodium level was pretty high at this point. But yeah, at this, like I'm just telling you about it now, but at the time you'll never get to experience the long silence and the probably the fair amount of swearing that took place right there. See, and I go the same way again, and I get stuck on the chair again. But again, look, there is enough room for a human body to pass past that chair. And like, obviously, you know, common sense would dictate that you could just move the chair. But I understand that having a, you know, code all of that into each individual chair would be like time consuming and unnecessary. At least for a game that was made in like, what, 2009 was this? No, it must be later than that. 2009 was roughly Demon Souls. This might be 2010 or 2011. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so I think at this point I just opt to kill them rather than, you know, just legging it. And that's the thing, as much as sometimes running past things is definitely the way to go, at other times it's just not worth it. Like I say, risk reward for the more forest strats. And that's the thing, the sheer verticality of this particular room is like massive, and you don't really realise it until you're running back up the stairs. Oh, see ya. Yeah, and I rest here because I'm like, well, you know, I don't want to run that hollow gauntlet again until I have to. Yeah, and I think now I'm sort of wondering whether to spend these souls that I've accumulated, and I believe I do, because me thought process was I'll just save it and use it for Twinkling Titanite and stuff to upgrade me gear, because at this point I'm still under the impression that you can upgrade Ornstein's armor with Twinkling Titanite, but as it turns out it's already pre-upgraded, which is why the stats on it are so good. I mean, as it turns out, I think it's still better than a +5 Eastern armor, so I do end up switching to it. But yeah, not until after I've bought some more Twinkling Titanite and then realised my error. But you know, that's further down the line. I think that's in about, well, it's not this episode, it's next episode. And I suppose I'm quite lucky really that Share Factory actually works enough now for me to do my commentary in post, because once upon a time, like at the genesis of the PS4's lifespan, Share Factory was absolutely garbage. I mean, I've probably said it before, but like it used to be absolutely terrible. If you look at like probably the first 5 videos on my channel, I just thought the thing that got me into like sort of mucking about and, you know, putting things on YouTube was I started doing 5-minute reviews of games, and the very the very clinical, and you can tell I'm reading off a script type thing. Do you know what I mean? They don't sound very organic at all. But other than that, the audio quality of the commentary is just absolutely disgraceful. And as it turns out, something I didn't really know at the time. I mean, it was still awful, but one of the things that made it worse was if you trimmed the audio or the clip. So say if the clip was 5 minutes long and I talked for 5.5 minutes or whatever. Or we'll go the other way, that makes more sense. Say the clip's 6 minutes long and I talk 5.5 minutes, and I trimmed the clip to 5.5 minutes. It compressed all of the clip basically, and the audio quality suffered as a result. But I didn't know that at the time, so I haven't bothered with it for several years. But as it turns out, it's a lot better now. Though I'm probably still going to finish my commentary for this video before the actual end of the video, just because, you know, I'm superstitious. And I make such a meal of fighting these 2 man serpents here, because I was like, you saw them like just there coming down the ladder and tried to blindside as well. I was dealing with the lemures, so I was like, right, I need to break off and deal with these guys. And I keep getting caught out, because what I'm looking for is I mean, I just got the double kill with the jumping 2-handed there, which was pretty sick. But yeah, I kept looking for an opportunity to parry, because that's the easy way to deal with them. But I kept worrying that, like, if I wait for a parry from one while that's happening, I'll get tagged by the other one. So I ended up being overly cautious, and what ended up happening was just I got tagged anyway. Now, what's interesting with the lemures now is, if you remember the first time we took these, there was the 2 that weren't hostile, that were crying. After you've done that and you've claimed them miracles, they all become hostile. So there's the same amount, but they stop. Them two become hostile as well. But this is the thing. We don't even have to free Logan really. Obviously, we have for story purposes, but the whole reason we want to is because that item in the back of his massive cage. I mean, look at the size of that. What prison in the world would have a cell like that for one person? And it's not even like you could make the argument that it's a prison cell for something massive, because look at the size of the door. It's obviously meant for a person. But yeah, we want the firekeeper saw in the back of the cell.
Don't mind me. Go on ahead. I'll head out soon. I wish to lay down my plans before I visit the archives.
So now we just head back upstairs, back to the other bonfire, the one overlooking the Crystal Forest, and then I believe we just make our way into Crystal Forest, and that's all that gets done really in this episode. Yeah, that's the thing, especially running up the stairs. You don't realise like how long this staircase goes on for. Because you keep thinking, oh, the next one's the bonfire, and it's not for about like 5 or 6 times, and it always reminds me of I think this is actually the one with the bonfire, but yeah, it always reminds me of that level in I think it's Super Mario World, where you need to take a particular route through the Bowser Castle, otherwise it just keeps looping. So you get to a certain point, and it's like if you go over the top of the blocks, then it continues, or you go underneath, and it just loops. And for every bit like that, there's like 5 or 6 sections you need to navigate in a particular order to get through it. Otherwise, it just loops back to the beginning, and it just makes me think of that when I'm running up the stairs for what feels like forever, or the staircase in Super Mario 64 as well. The last one where you run up and it's got the music going like that for forever. Yep, ignoring all these, back to the bonfire. Hopefully don't get stuck on any more chairs. I obviously just preemptively got rid of that chair because I thought it was going to happen. Yeah, so now I think we go and talk to Logan, because I wasn't sure if he would actually sell us anything. So this is where we make the realization that even if we are a complete, dullard, he'll still sell us sorceries.
Magnificent, more than expected even. As promised, I shall share the new sorceries with you, and the secret of Seath's immortality.
So yeah, we get the secret of Seath's immortality here as well. See, that's the thing. I mean, obviously you could work it out for yourself. You don't have to free Logan to like continue the game, but it's nice that there are these sort of like places in it where you get hints on how you need to progress. Yeah, like look at that, Crystal Soul Spear is 50,000 by itself. I spent an awful long time looking at magic weapon there. I don't know what I was talking about.
Ah, the secret of Seath's immortality. If you have fought him and were imprisoned, you must know that Seath is a true undead, different from ourselves. His wounds close promptly, and no mortal blow affects him, granting true insulation from death. His wounds close promptly, and no mortal blow affects him, granting true insulation from death. It is an effect of the primordial crystal, a sacred treasure pillaged by Seath when he turned upon the ancient dragons. So only by destroying the primordial crystal can you so much as scratch his hide. And it so happens the primordial crystal is in the inner garden of these very archives, the Crystal Forest.
So there you go. Now we know where we're headed and what we're doing. I do really like Logan as a character. I think the one of the things that Dark Souls does well is it's
The tomes stored in these archives are truly magnificent, a great pool of knowledge, the fruits of superior wisdom and an unquenchable desire for the truth. Some would say Seath had an unsound fixation, but his work is a beautiful, invaluable resource. All progress demands sacrifice, and I certainly bear no antipathy for that wonderful, scaleless beast.
don't like talking over him when he's talking. I must be talking again here on the original recording. Yeah, one of the things that I like about
Farewell.
the design of characters in Dark Souls is they manage to convey a lot about like who these characters are and their personalities and what their goals are in like a very small amount of dialogue or like actions. Do you know what I mean? It'll be cool when we come back here and we talk to Logan a bit more and we can watch him like, you know, gradually, you know, lose his edge. It's just interesting, like some of the things that can make, you know, that can cause you to go hollow. Like say with the crestfallen knight, he just wanted to be left, and it's because he didn't get what he wanted that caused him to go hollow. Yet with Logan, his whole thing, his quest, the reason he came to Lordran was to, you know, improve his source. Where him and Griggs got cast out when they became undead. Do you know what I mean? But his whole thing was finding the archives and, you know, being at the forefront of sorcery and developing new stuff and all the rest of it. And Logan gets what he wants, and eventually he goes hollow anyway. Although I suppose maybe if he was looking for the secret of immortality, and he couldn't find out to do that, then yeah, maybe that's it, and he didn't get what he wanted. Pretty sure I'll kill all these golems just because there's a couple of items kicking about in this little area, but I can't remember where they are off the top of my head, so I'll just do a broad scan of the area. We will actually have to come back here at some point to further Siegmir's questline, because at the moment he's in Firelink, and he says, "Oh, pretty soon I'll head down below, meaning like Blighttown." He ends up in Ash Lake, and we need to free his daughter, who's trapped inside a crystal golem, to get the good ending of his quest line. So we'll be doing that. And I'm trying to work out, like now, at what point I want to tackle the Great Hollow and Ash Lake, because there isn't like a huge amount to them really, but I do want to, do them for completion's sake. But as it stands at the moment, we're kind of we're sort of just on that path of like doing the Lord's, getting the Lord Souls, and that's not necessarily like, obviously we need to do that to beat the game, but I guess that's just more interesting than the Great Hollow. And actually, after we beat Seath, I go to New Londo because I want to get access to the Dark Wraiths. Not to join the Covenant, just to like, because the Dark Wraiths have themselves, the actual enemies, have a really good chance of dropping Titanite chunks. So because eventually I'm hoping to transition into that Man Serpent Greatsword, I believe after we finish the Duke's Archives, I head there next because I want to get a handle on that. And also not just because like it'd be nice to get like a fully maxed out like gear before the end of the game. If I end up doing New Londo last, then literally the only time we'll make use of having those extra stats will be like for Gwyn or the DLC, depending on when I do that. But as it stands at the moment, obviously you've got another episode to watch after this. Again, that'll be with post commentary because I'm a buffoon. But yeah, after that we're in New Londo, so obviously what I'll end up doing the Four Kings while I'm there, just because we need to do it. So then after that, what have we got left? We've got the other Lord Soul bits and pieces, which is the Catacombs and Tomb of the Giants for Nito, and we've got Demon Ruins and Izalith for the Bed of Chaos. And we just picked up the crystalline set there, which looks really cool. And if you're wearing heavy armor, it's definitely worth considering, just because it offers decent protection and it looks really cool. And unlike the crystal weapons that can't be repaired, you can repair the armor, but it just costs you a fortune. Not even like a huge amount, but if you think anytime we've repaired our gear in this playthrough, it's cost like a minuscule amount of souls, like 71 or something. But with the crystal set, it's like 4,000 or 5,000 each time. So not an insignificant amount, but not gonna break the bank either in the late game. But yeah, I think what'll probably end up happening is I'll do the Four Kings on camera. I'm probably gonna farm up a load of chunks off camera, because watching me kill Dark Raves for several hours is going to be really boring, and no one wants to watch that. Not like I'm getting, rave reviews on this playthrough anyway, but if anyone does watch it, you don't want to watch me farming Dark Raves for 2 hours, so yeah, that'll be off camera. But then after that, I think I'll probably do the Great Hollow and Ash Lake then. Before I do the rest of the Lord Soul stuff. So the timeline's probably going to be like this. Finish New Londo, do the Great Hollow and Ash Lake. Then we'll do the rest of the Lord Souls, then the DLC, then finish with Gwyn. That's probably how it's going to look. Yeah, so now we're in the Crystal Caves proper. Now you can see I'm looking down my bow here. And one of the things, like the gimmick of this place, is that it's got invisible paths. And if you look carefully, you can see the snowflakes just sort of landing on the top there, like not falling all the way at the bottom. So that's how you can tell that there's an invisible path there. If you're not paying attention, it's the kind of thing that's easily overlooked at first. But that's sort of like your first real clue as to how you progress through this part of the level. Also, yes, that is a moonlight butterfly. It isn't a boss, it's just a regular enemy, but it's far worse than the boss. Just leave them alone. Don't ever aggro them. That's my advice, because they never land. They never land in this place. So all they do is they just like chuck loads of, moonlight butterfly attacks at you forever, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you've got ranged weapons. So you can see someone's put an orange soapstone there, so we know that this is a path. And again, you can see the snowflakes, so you know that there's a path here. Now, the bit that kills me at the end of this episode is because it's a bit that I don't normally do. And the way I normally tackle this is if you know where the bridge starts and you know where you need to end up, you just sort of align the 2 points and you just run in a perfect straight line and you won't fall off. So like we've dropped onto here from where that is, and if we run in a straight line, we'll end up where we need to be. Here I'm using the prism stones just to show you that you can in fact use them to mark your path if you're uncertain. So like there you can see the path's wider than you think it is. So if you were really uncertain on like getting through here, you could use those prism stones, and that is the reason the game gives you 20 just before you get into the crystal caves. And I remember panicking a bit here because there's a couple of times I skirt the edge here, do you know what I mean? So we get rid of the big fella, but that definitely cranked up my blood pressure a notch for a few minutes. Yeah, and it's this bit here, off to the left, because I see the orange soapstone marks. Now normally I would just go right and head straight towards the end, like down there. But I was like, what's over here? Because I've never normally gone this way. So I have a look, and I'm like, right, obviously I've got to drop down. And I can see that there's an item there. And because I've never been on this path before, I'm panicking a bit here because, like I say, my straight line strategy doesn't seem to be working. Because I can see the items down there and to the left. But where I can see the snowflakes landing isn't there. It looks curved. So I'm like, well, okay, I need to be careful. So I end up like curving around here, and that works out fine. So I'm just checking using the prism stones. So even though normally I don't bother using them, and like I say, I just run a straight line. Like I spent about like 5 or 10 minutes shit talking prism stones, and then here I am using them, like needing to use them. But we do get a blue titanite slab out of it, which is, the slabs, there's generally only one of each of them in the game, apart from standard titanite slabs, there's a couple of them. So here's where I die, because I think I can just follow the same path back. But I don't know the exact path, and there you go, I fall off. And as it turns out, there is sort of a bend in the path. But having that been like the first time literally that I've ever taken that path, I didn't see it. So I think now I end the episode here. And then next time I go back and try and claim my souls. Yeah, because I had about 5 or 10 minutes left on my timer. And I didn't want to overrun it and just have to cut it in the middle of a good bit. So I just wrapped it up here. And speaking of which, I've got about 20 seconds left on this recording. So hopefully this works out and there'll be more post commentary next time. But thanks for watching. See you next time.